Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I'm Shahzadi Samra for the course of African Literature. Course code is 4117 and it is for master's second semester. So today what we gonna discuss is about The Lion in the Jewel by Wole Soyinka. So it is another as it is the African literature, and we are studying the African writers. Wole Soyinka is also another prominent writer of African in African literature. So the work of that is basically a play, The Lion and the Jewel. So first is the introduction of the Wole Soyinka. He was born on July 13, 1934 in western Nigeria, and he was a dramaturgist at the Royal Court Theatre in London for almost like for a year, like 1958 to 1959, and he also spent 6 years in London, and that was the time period when he acted as Royal Court at the Court Theatre. So he was awarded Rockefeller Bursary Award, and he returned to Nigeria to study in African drama, and he was the award he was given it was in 1960. So at the same time he taught drama and literature at various universities in Ibadan, like in western Nigeria where he was born. So Lagos another, and Ife, where since 1975 he has been the professor of comparative literature as well. So in 1960 he founded the theatre group. The name of the theatre group is the 1960 Masks, and in 1964 he founded and established a theatre company, it was the Orison Theatre Company, and in which he has produced his own plays and taken part as actor. So he has also periodically been visiting like acted as visiting professor at the universities of Cambridge, Sheffield and Yale. And the most important aspect is during the civil war in Nigeria, Soyinka appealed in an article for ceasefire. So what happened then? When he asked for the ceasefire, he proposed a ceasefire in an article in 1967. It was in 1967. So the outcome of that, he was accused of sympathizing with Biafran rebels, and he was imprisoned for treason for almost 2 years. So, and he was arrested in 1965 during the civil war, and he was imprisoned until 1969. Okay, so sorry, and he spent much of his time in solitary confinement, and is described his traumatic experience in the collection poems, poems from prison, and the autobiographical novel The Man Died. So after his release from prison, he went into voluntary exile and spent some time in Ghana, where he became editor of a leading intellectual journal. In 1975 he returned to Nigeria and was appointed professor of English at the University of Ife. So he continued to write plays, critical essays, film scripts, and many other things, and he has published almost 20 works, and it includes the dramas, novels and poetry. And he was influenced by the Irish writer J.M. Synge, and but he links up with the traditional popular African theater with its combination of dance, music, and action. And he bases his writings on the mythology of his own tribe, the Yoruba tribe, with Ogun, the god of iron and war at the center. And because of his achievement and his recognition in the literature, he was awarded a Nobel Prize for Literature in 1986. So by this time, his plays were being produced all over the world, and he has worked as a, like I told you, as a visiting lecturer in many universities. So, after participating in protest march against the military regime in 1993, once again he went into this voluntary exile, and he divided his time between US and France. And in 1997 he was charged and tried in his absence for bomb attacks against the army, and the head of state, General Abaka, sentenced Soyinka to death because of these charges, and he also faced trials because of this. So because of the death of the state journal in 1998, the accusations were cancelled, and in October he returned to Nigeria. And he has written over 15 plays or 2 novels and number of autobiographical works. And his literary essays are collected in Myth, Literature, and African World. And his thoughts on theatre can be found in 1960 essay Towards a True Theatre. So he is still alive, and he works as a professor at a university in Georgia and in Nigeria as well. So one thing that was quite interesting, that his participation and in the political activities, and also that sorry, I forgot the sentence. Another thing is the element of exile. Achebe, he also went into voluntary exile, and Soyinka, Ben Okri, many of the African writers, they went into voluntary exile. And the reason for this was whenever any of the member of their tribes or society felt some kind of guilt, he put himself into an voluntary exile. And if he doesn't, and the society thinks that he had committed some kind of sin or he should be punished, so they just send them into the exile. Like when Akonke, he was sent into exile as well. So exile is also the prominent theme in the African literature. So it was bit about the biography of Soyinka. And as he was born in 1934, and Nigeria, it was under the British rule only for 20 years. And after that, after the independence of Nigeria, there were periods of civil war among them. So because of it, they also suffered. So now move on towards the historical context of the Lion and the Jewel. So the Lagos, it was a major port city, and this is known as Nigeria today, and it saw a great deal of international and Western influence from 16th century on, and it became the capital city of British ruled colonial Nigeria beginning in 1901. So the British rulers of the colony, they promoted public works projects like railways and roads to modernize the land. They also built schools over there, and in the modernization, it was because they wanted to make the farming and industry more profitable. So the decision to grant Nigeria a self-governing country, it was in 19 in in 1951, the decision that was taken, it was in that, and it became self-governing country in 1957, and it also granted independence. The independence was not declared until 1st October 1960. It was granted independence as Commonwealth realm by the British Parliament in 1960, and it became a republic in 1963. So they means British, they drew up a decision, or they decided to divide the whole into the between the central authorities and the three regional legislatures. So this decision quickly led to the emergence of three major political parties, and those political parties, in the name of those, one was the National Council for Nigeria and Cameroon, NCNC, short form, the abbreviation, and which dominated in East. The Action Group, AG, it dominated in West, and the Western Nigeria, where Soyinka was born. So the Nigerian People's Congress, NPC, it controlled the northern areas they used a British Parliament system, and the leader of NPC, it was the Abubakar Tafawa, he elected as the Prime Minister at that time. So it was only after the 2 years of independence there was a split in the Yoruban the people AG group, the Action Group. It led to the crisis in the western region, and the leaders were charged to treason and imprisonment for almost 16 years. So, and in 1965 the violence, there was a emergence of violence, and the federal government was overthrown in military coup, and because of which there was in 1966 it was the start of civil war, and it was there till 1970. So the people they faced quite disaster, and they continued to experience conflicts under the number of military dictators for the next 30 years or about 20 years. So, but after the death of Abacha, the general state, there was the civilian rule was restored, and it is restored till today. So it was in 1998. So that is why the ethnic variety in Nigeria, it is enormous, and there are estimated to between 250 to 400 distinct ethnic groups with almost 400 different languages. So the official language is English, and it regained the democratic government in 1999, which is modeled after the United States. So now Nigeria, after experiencing such tough years, military rule, military dictatorship, so now they are enjoying a relatively political calm, After the years of military rule, corruption is not uncommon, and faith in government remains low. Soyinka has said there are so many forcing tearing Nigeria apart that I ask myself if it's a nation and has called Nigeria's path to democracy a marathon, not a sprint. Sorry, yeah, sorry, not a sprint. Okay, so now move on to the introduction. Uh, the introduction of the Lion and the Jewel. It is also the cultural introduction. So it was first written in 1959 and performed in 1959 also, but it wasn't published until 1962. It was performed in a Royal Court Theatre. Many of his plays were performed there. It's not there, but many of the plays written by him, they were performed. And the setting of this play, it is Yoruba tribe or village of Yoruba village, Lijunle, and so the strong traditions and styles of Yoruban theatre are very evident in The Lion and the Jewel. Sorry about the pronunciation as it is African, so please excuse the pronunciation. So I bet you call it the Yoruba tribe. Okay, the play displays a fusion of theatrical styles, like from the Yoruban tradition to simple storytelling, to English language influences. It also contains many of the elements which can traditionally be found in Nigerian theatre, like drumming, singing, dancing, and physical storytelling. Like physical means at any place, at any given time. So when we'll read about I'll describe a plot overview, you'll get to know that or when you'll read the text by yourself, you'll get to know there was a lot of drumming, singing, dancing, and storytelling. These are all the elements that were also present in Things Fall Apart. Whenever there was some kind of announcement, they used to beat drum, and they used to sing and dance on the occasions, and there was also the tradition of storytelling. Noise mother used to tell stories, and Okonko used to tell stories. These were prominent in African literature. So I told you that whatever the characteristics of African literature are the characteristics of all the works. So it is basically it is also the post-colonial African diaspora period that is shown in this work, and it is a drama and comedy as well. So and the Yoruba village, it is a rural village, and the setting is like the year he was presenting it is in the 1950s. So it was a period when there was a rapid modernization, and the British they were building railways and some other things. As I told you that Soyinka is from the Yoruba tribe, and therefore the strong traditions and styles of Yoruban theatre are very evident in The Lion and the Jewel. So the name Yoruba is is of a more recent origin than the concept. So it was originally the Hausa name for the Oyo kingdom, and it meaning is the people of the state of Oyo, Hausa, and was given a wider use by missionaries only in 1840s. So the Yoruba, it many centuries, it developed developed as a sophisticated society which is based on strong city states, like with a vibrant culture and important spiritual cultures. So there were traders and farmers, artists and inventors extending their own influence well beyond their nominal ethnic boundaries. So that is why the Yoruba, it is not strictly one single ethnic group. The Yoruba culture is communal, where the good of community is traditionally more important than the good of the individual. So the Yoruba, it values truthfulness, but not to the extent that it will harm the community. So it is not considered prudent to be honest in a situation that will harm the communal good. So it means that their approach was utilitarian approach, greater good for the greater number of people. So as I said, the Yoruba developed, I've already told you that there were many ethnic groups, or there is not a single ethnic group in the Nigeria. Sorry, but there were many. And are formed from various individual cultures within a general Yoruba context. So there were in the past recent conflicts between the rival city states vying for economic and political power. So the West Africa has always been the most populous part of the African continent, and though it is not possible to give an accurate figure of the contemporary Yoruba population, like something in the region of 20 million would be a reasonable assumption actually. So the old Yoruba kingdom of Oyo was traditionally one of the largest states of West Africa. But but after the mid 18th century, mid of the 18th century, its power slowly faded, and at the beginning of the 19th century, there were invasions, there were slave raids, and the growing contact with the Europeans. Basically, it divided the Yoruba into a small number of small states actually, as what happened in the things fall apart. So same thing happened in the Yoruba, the Igbo society and the European society. So the slave trade affected the Yoruba states as all other religions. All the slaves were either, all the states were either capturing slaves, dealing in slaves, suffering from the political instability, so which resulted from slave raiding, or it also resulted in reduction in productive population, so both male or female. So the breakup of the Oyo Empire in the early 19th century they destabilized the surrounding states, and in second half of the 19th century the Yoruba gradually fell under British control, and they were under direct British administration from 1893 to until 1960. So today many of the large cities in Nigeria, including Lagos, where this where this story take place, the Ibadan and Ibu Kutas, I guess, sorry for the pronunciation, these all cities are in Yoruban land. So vestiges of the Yoruba culture can still be found in Brazil and Cuba, where Yoruba were imported as slaves. So as I told you, the Yoruban culture is communal, and with the good of community is traditionally more important. So seniority and rank in each community was structured predominantly by age, but also took into account if a person was native to the village, and when they entered the community, for instance through marriage. So towns could be autonomous, like politically, and also ruled by any king, or could be ruled by a local leader without full autonomous like political power, and this leader was called the Bale. Bale the is also the title that is used in the. So I was telling about Bale, that is local leader. So now move towards the marriage and polygamy, the concept of marriage and polygamy. It was overall in African literature, but there are different views that are about the polygamy, that is there are positive and the negative aspects of this, and the concept is known as the marrying of multiple wives. It was the common practice in Yoruban society. So many experts on Yoruba culture, they present a positive view about it, about a view of the polygamous family life, that the factors that make polygamy practical in the society. So they say that it may have a positive impact on the family, because there are large number of members then, and they act as economic unit of production. The family, they function as and especially for those families who are in agriculture, and agriculture is the common practice, like the business in the Africa. So the large families, they provide necessary labor and maintenance and growth in the business. So in this context, it is considered positive. So it also allows for a family to have more than one child every 3 years. So included in polygamous practice is the tradition of widow inheritance, in which a man marries the widow of a deceased brother. So this practice ensures that the woman and her children remained under the economic and social care of the family. So in this context, it is considered positive that the women, they are not left on their own, they are taken care of. So it can also be said that it displays the economic and political prestige also. So that is why the kings, chiefs, and other wealthy personages, they make many wives to boost their wealth and royalty and power. So you will see this in the Lion and the Jewel as well. So it shows that a person's reputation, it makes him famous, or he is also respected in the society, because it shows that the male, he is able to raise the necessary bride prices, and he can take care of a large family as well. He is a responsible man. And so the women, they also enjoy a prestige in the hierarchy of the marriage. As I told you that the first wife, she often gets the higher rank. So while a second, second or third wife, they holds the higher status over a single woman, and the first wife maintains the most privilege among the women in the family. So traditionally, the first wife would choose her husband's second and third, and she acts as the go-between means she like takes a proposal to the other houses for her husband. So, along with the social status provided by supervising other women in the household, the first wife benefits from the division of labor as well. So, with multiple wives to do the housework, the first wife may have more time for her own business, such as harvesting and selling yams, and that she may have outside the house. So there are various views, different views on the polygamy, and and it is maybe due to the different reactions to the practice in each family. So so it requires the polygamy, it to function. It requires rules and diplomacy. So the husband is basically the husband is careful in disbursing his resources to wives and children, and he avoids excessive discrimination, and as not to trigger too many rivalries among his wives and children. So the senior wife enjoys some power over the younger ones, and in fact in this the lion and the jewel, it is prominent. So that is why I put all these point in the introduction, so you may have idea beforehand. So I was saying that the senior wife enjoys some power over the young ones, where the system works that women support one another in raising their children and maintaining their businesses. So where it doesn't work, especially in modern times, the man may end up losing his wives basically. It was about the introduction, when was it written, and it was about the culture, the how is the what kind of culture Yoruban people have, and their ethnicity, and what hardships they faced, and how they run their society. One important thing is Yoruba's opera, their traveling theatre. It is very adaptable form, and sorry I forgot to put that in slides. So when we'll have the online meeting, we can discuss that as well. So that Yoruba opera, it can use traditional music, dance, and myth, but it can also incorporate the latest styles in music and design. It as I said, it is a traveling theater, so it is adaptable to almost any location, and the sets that can be prepared and set up very quickly. So it is kind of mobile theater. So there is usually the constant musical accompaniment, and although these songs are always rehearsed, the dialogues is often improvised. This total theater is by far the most popular theatrical form in Nigeria, and has successfully transferred onto television and film. So the English language plays have also been played a song, and there is influence of the English language as because of the colonization. So sorry. So as I told you that the Soyinka he established the mask theater, or started that. So that is why the Yoruba, they have also quite an importance in this aspect, that in the aspect of the theater performance. So it is the different styles and elements from Nigeria's rich theatrical heritage is the a cornerstone of the work of British based group. Their approach of working is collectively collaborative, and working together. So it was all about the historical and cultural context of the work, and about the introduction of the work. sorry about that. And I have also put references from where I have collected the data. You can also visit these sites, and you can gather the data by yourself. So and so this is all about it. You can find I'm sorry that I couldn't find the text. You can search it on your own. So that is all for now for this lecture, and in the next lecture I'll discuss about the plot or major characters, and plot overview, and also the themes of the play or the drama. So for now, thank you so much and stay blessed.